All right, we're about to dive into a really powerful tool for writers, and it all comes from the work of Mohammed AbdEllah. We often think of academic writing as this solitary thing, but it's not. It's actually a huge ongoing conversation, and in the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly how to pull up a chair and join in.
So, this is the big question, isn't it? You've got to show you've done the reading, you've got to report what other people have found, but you also need to bring your own ideas to the table. How do you possibly balance acknowledging everyone else while still making your own point? Well, it's a bit of a tricky dance, but believe me, there are specific tools to help you take the lead. Okay, let's jump right in with our first tool, reported speech. Now, this isn't just about parroting what someone else said. Not at all. It's about strategically weaving their ideas into your story and, in the process, becoming a real academic storyteller.
At its heart, reported speech lets you do two really critical things at the same time. First, you're giving a nod to your sources, you're summarizing their main points. But second, and this is the part that really matters, it opens the door for you to add your own layer of analysis. See, you're not just a reporter, you're more like a curator of ideas. Okay, look closely at this tiny but super powerful change. We go from a direct quote to reported speech. By saying Freud believed, the writer is subtly framing this as a theory, not some undisputed fact. That one word choice, it's everything. It creates space for you to have your own discussion, your own analysis.
Let's see how this actually plays out in a more complicated example. In this case study, the writer isn't just typing up a transcript of a conversation. No way. They're synthesizing it. Words like stated and suggested take all that raw dialogue and turn it into a clear, structured story. It's clean, it's efficient, and most importantly, it puts the writer in control.
All right, so if reported speech is the framework, our next tool is the engine. This is where you really start to shape the conversation and guide how your reader thinks. Let's talk about your rhetorical secret weapon.
Just think about it for a second. When you're citing a source, you're probably focused on the big nouns, the key concepts, right? But what if I told you the real power, the true strategic edge, is hiding somewhere else entirely?
Yep, it's the referring verb. That one little word you use to introduce someone else's idea, that is where you inject your own voice. It is the most underrated and honestly the most powerful word in your entire sentence.
So here's the bottom line. A referring verb does so much more than just introduce a quote. It's a signal. It tells your reader exactly what you think about the source material. Are you just reporting a fact? Are you presenting an argument that you totally agree with? Or are you maybe setting up a claim that you're about to tear down? That little verb does all the heavy lifting for you.
What this means is that your choice of verb should never, ever be random. It's got to be a deliberate, strategic move. I want you to think of your options like they're on a spectrum, right? Ranging from a totally neutral observation on one end all the way to a really powerful endorsement on the other.
And here's the toolkit. On one side, you have your neutral, or what we'll call weak verbs, words like report, state, or observe. These are perfect when you're just presenting information straight up, or maybe acknowledging an opposing view without giving it too much credit. But on the other side, you've got the strong verbs. Argue, demonstrate, prove. These are your power tools. You pull these out when you want to fully align yourself with a source and build your own argument right on top of it.
Let's see them in action. Using the verb reports here, it's like you're a journalist. You're just presenting the information that was in the source. There's no opinion, there's no spin. It is a completely neutral, factual statement.
Now, observed is a little more specific. It's still pretty neutral, but it tells us this information came from direct research or some kind of study. The writer is acknowledging what Laurent found, but they're not necessarily saying it's a world-changing discovery. It's a very careful, very precise word choice.
Okay, now we're shifting gears to the strong verbs. As soon as you say someone argues something, you've immediately framed their statement as a position in a debate. It's not a simple fact anymore, it's a viewpoint, and one that could be challenged. You're signaling to your reader, hey, this is an opinion, not some established truth.
And then you have the heavy hitters. When you write that Felix demonstrated something, you're showing a ton of confidence in his findings. You're not just saying he thinks there's a difference, you're saying he proved it. This verb ties you directly to that source and uses its authority to make your own argument stronger. So you've got reported speech to build the narrative, and you've got referring verbs to control the tone. Now let's put it all together into a really clear framework so you can find and use your own scholarly voice.
First, just a few quick rules of the road. To keep things clear and professional, always stick your citation right after the referring verb. Next, here's a great pro tip about tense. If the author is still alive, use the present tense, like Felix argues, because their work is still evolving. If the author is deceased, use the past tense, like Freud believed. These little details are so important for giving credit and, of course, avoiding plagiarism.
So, here it is, broken down into 4 simple steps. 1. Structure your sentence with reported speech. 2. Pause and choose your referring verb on purpose. Don't just grab the first one that pops into your head. 3. Match that verb's strength to whatever you're trying to do in that paragraph. And 4. Cite your source correctly. That is the whole game plan.
By mastering reported speech and the strategic use of these verbs, you go from being just a passive reporter of information to an active participant in this huge scholarly conversation. You've got the tools. So the only question left is, what are you going to say?